Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video. As you guys can see, it's just going to be me today. Athens gone, he's going to be gone for a little bit. We might get him here and there, depends on his scheduling. His whole schedule is going to be all messed up. So with all that being said, you guys can see from the title, we've got our annual LEGO Star Wars 2025 rank. Every year we rank all the play sets from the whole year that we just had of releases. There's always some exceptions of sets that we don't kind of like rank and review. For instance, I'm not going to be doing the Starship series today, so like the MIDI scale. I can't remember if we did it last year, but if we did, we're not doing it this year. Me and Afton, neither of us bought a single one this year. Not to say we won't ever buy one, we just wasn't our kind of niche. So it feel insincere to go and rank these and review these when we haven't really had our hands on these. You know, we haven't had our hands on every single one of these sets, but we've had our hands on one or two of the mechs or one or two of the helmets in years past, so we kind of know the style. So all that being said, almost all these sets on this list we have had and reviewed or owned or whatever. So all that being said, no Starship series sets and no UCS sets, so like no 18 plus sets for the most part. You know, a couple exceptions here and there. Yeah, with all that being said, we'll get right into the list. Starting off at the very worst, number 26. What do we think is the worst LEGO Star Wars set to come out in the year of 2025? That would be set 75401, Ahsoka's Jedi Starfighter. It's a play set for $45. Now, something you're going to see kind of reoccurring on this list is the price. The price of these year's sets really impacted a lot of how people view these sets, right? Where, you know, that's kind of always been the case before, but it's really been the case this year. There was a big price jump for a lot of play sets just from last year to this year, as you guys will see kind of going over all these sets. The Jedi Starfighter is, I think, an okay set, but for $45 it feels like we should be getting much more than what we actually got. And even the quality of the ship itself, it's just weird. The cockpit where the actual, I forget what they call it, the screen raises, it's kind of built into the front of the ship. So like the nose of it, and it looks just weird. It's inaccurate. You know, the minifigures are okay, the Ahsoka's okay, the droid's okay, but again, for $45, it feels like we should be getting much more than just a single starship and a couple minifigures, right? Even just a couple years ago, we had Kenobi Starfighter, which I know is technically a little bit smaller, but it was almost half the price of this set. So it's kind of hard not to review this set so low with that big of a price jump. And I feel like it's fittingly at the bottom because it doesn't really offer that much. Sometimes with these big price, you can see like, okay, there's still some cool stuff in the set. I mean, you could say the Ahsoka and the astromech that she gets in this set are cool, but not enough for $45. Next up, we have number 25, set 75431, the 327th Star Corps Battle Pack, $45. Now, this is the set I have refused to buy and review just because I love battle packs. LEGO Star Wars, my biggest thing that I got into it was for battle packs. I think they're just really fun to collect. I think it's really fun to see what different battle packs every year LEGO Star Wars has to offer. It's a really cool way to collect minifigures. It's just, I think the battle pack scheme is so broad and available for all genres of fans that I just think it's the best thing that they have to offer. So when I saw they were price jumping, you know, I kind of expected it. As we'll see, there's another battle pack on the list above, but $45 compared to a set that just last year, the Clone Trooper versus Droid battle pack was $30, and it was actually bigger than the set. It had more characters. I think the piece count's similar, but it had more characters, which is what most people look at when they look at a battle pack, and it was $15 less. I refuse to buy it. I refuse to pay for it and review it. You know, if I get it on sale, I'll buy it, but I'm not going to spend $45 on this. And I think everyone who's a LEGO Star Wars fan should kind of go on this strike and just not buy the set, because LEGO Star Wars should not be able to get away with a $45 battle pack. That's kind of crazy that they think they can. And because of that alone, I think I had to almost rank it the worst. I still like the idea of a 327th core battle pack. I think those are really cool clone troopers, but that's not enough for me to rank it any higher than it is. It almost made last place, but I still like the 327th Clone Troopers. I know they're not everyone's favorite. The printing, or not the printing, the helmet holes and the no waist capes is a big, no sell for them, especially at $45. But the printing for the Clone Troopers, I think, is pretty good. So that's why it's not the last, but close to it. Next up, we have number 24, the 30708 Millennium Falcon polybag. Every year we get a polybag. Usually we get 2, but I'm pretty sure we only got 1 this year, so it's kind of weird. It's $5. Millennium Falcon is a polybag we've had dozens of times. And surprisingly enough, this one's missing some print. Right on the windshield cockpit area, there's usually a printed piece. We've seen it for other polybags. We've seen it for other microfighters. They have this piece readily available, and they didn't use it for this. So it kind of confused me for a polybag that, usually they don't put a lot of effort, but they'll use the pieces that they do, and they'll use them well. They didn't even use the pieces that they've used in past for this kind of sets. So I thought that was very weird that they did that. It's a polybag as well. It's not going to be the most grand scheme thing. And I feel like Millennium Falcon polybag is the least creative, unique idea they could have come up with. I think a polybag should be used to come up with really cool ideas. Seeing these different variations of these sets that we had, and we might not ever see again, but we can get it in polybag, right? And I think that's a really cool way to use that. Not keep giving us the Millennium Falcon. We already have that in 1,000 different ways. Especially if you're going to give us that, give us the best quality, and they didn't. So that's why it's so low on this list. Next up, we have set 75430, the Wicket Ewok character. It's a buildable character. They've been doing a lot of these. Retail for $130. I think they've kind of almost overdone the buildable character series. They've done, I think, like 5 of this year. Last year they did 3. And I think the Wicket Ewok looks okay, but it's $130. So it seems like it should be a little bit less for what you're getting. It's an okay build, but it's not that big. It's not much bigger than, let's say, the Lego C-3PO that came out last year. It's only $140, and it's, I would say, in my opinion, much bigger, not just by the eye test, but by piece count. So for $130, it just seems like this is not the best buildable character we could get. I do like the idea of a Wicket Ewok, but also I'm kind of burnt out on these buildable characters. So when I was ranking this list, I was like, I don't even really know where to put it. This could definitely go much higher in the list. I just threw it down here because I feel like there was a better argument for some of the sets above it. But honestly, you could change my mind. I'm just kind of burnt out on the buildable characters. Next up, we have set 75411, the Darth Maul mech, retailed for $18, $17.99. It's low on my list because I don't care about mechs, and I think Lego Star Wars should stop doing them. But for all the mechs that came out last year and the year before, this one kind of lies somewhere in the middle. It's not the worst one, but it's definitely not the best one. There's some things wrong with it. Again, the Darth Maul minifigure, if they're going to keep doing these pupilless eyes for the Sith, I'm going to continue to harp on Lego Star Wars for that decision. I think it's a very poor decision to make. It almost seems like they're regressing in the details and accuracy of the minifigures and the printing. And the thighs is like one of those big case in point things. So why are they doing that? It's not something they needed to ever do, and they're doing it. And I think that's kind of what holds the Darth Maul mech back for me personally. Otherwise, the mech itself looks just fine for the mech series. But I'm also just not a big fan of the mechs. If you like all the Star Wars mechs so far, you probably will like this set. So don't take my word too much for it. If you enjoyed this series, you'll probably enjoy the mech. Just the minifigure itself, I can't stand. Next up, number 21, we have set 75410, Mando and Grogu's N1 Starfighter. It's a 4+ set for $30. Now, this one is one of the few sets, because of the price, that I feel like deserves to go higher than it actually does. The 4+ sets are nothing special. They're always kind of a price gouge to begin with. But Lego Star Wars can get away with it because they're meant for toddlers. Grandparents and parents are going to buy it regardless. Because the pieces are so specially molded and the bricks are just so exclusive to the 4+ sets, they do have kind of a reasonable reason to price gouge them a little bit. But out of the last 3 years, it feels like every 4+ set has been getting more expensive and seeming less valuable. This is finally one of the bigger jumps backwards for the price for the 4+ sets for Lego Star Wars, and I really thought that was good. And I think if you're going to do a Lego Star Wars 4+ set, and it's not going to be like based off of that show that they had on Disney Plus for kids, Star Wars Jedi Knight Younglings or something like that, Jedi Younglings. If you're not going to do something off of that, if you're going to do like just a Star Wars exclusive, like from the movies or shows, it's got to be something that's very, very recognizable and easy to sell for kids and toddlers. And what's more recognizable and easier to sell than Grogu and Mando, right? It's like the biggest thing like a Star Wars or Star Wars itself has to offer young fans. So I think this is perfect, item to sell to that crowd, to that genre of fan. But otherwise, personally, I don't care too much for it. I just thought this was a really great marketable set for the 4+ set series, and I really enjoyed that finally they kind of jumped backwards in those giant price jumps. Next up, we have number 20, set 75400, Plo Koon's Microfighter, $15. This one could have gone down and up on my list either way. 20 is not really a special spot for it. I do like the new Plo Koon minifigure. I think it works just good. It's nice to finally have an updated Plo Koon, and something that's really easy to find and buy. It's not something that's in a UCS set that's really not going to be able to be achieved by any fan, right? Or not going to be able to buy it because it's just too much out of their daily spending capabilities, right? A $15 microfighter, if you really want a new Plo Koon, anyone can go and get it, right? So I like that. The microfighter itself is okay. I think it's fine. I really would have rather this set itself be an actual starfighter, right? We had the ARC 170 come out this year, and I think a Plo Koon's starfighter would have fit really, really well with the ARC 170. But we got a microfighter instead, which I think is just unfortunate. But there's really no special reason why this one is at number 20. It's okay. It's a microfighter, but it's $15. So, again, it's kind of due to that price. Next up, we have set 75428, the Stap buildable character, retail for $140. Now, this is another one that I don't really know why this one even exists. The buildable characters, again, overdone. But if you're going to keep doing them, the Stap from the Phantom Menace seems like the weirdest one to do. Am I complaining that they did it? No, not necessarily. Just because last year they had the Droideka. And I thought the Droideka was cool. But to do the Stap just seemed kind of like out of left field. So it's kind of hard to compare it to the rest, right? A lot of these other ones are like companions, right? The Ewok Wicket or BB-8 or C-3PO or R2-D2 or Chopper. These are like companions, right? The Stap isn't. So it's kind of just a weird buildable character to do. And for $140, it just seems like I don't really know what this set, who it was directed at. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to just see it in that light, in that sense. But for what it is, I think it works just well. It's $140. This one is only $10 more than the Wicket Ewok buildable character, but it feels like you're getting much, much more in this set than the Ewok. So that's kind of why I had it ranked higher. But again, like the buildable characters in general, I just don't even have too much to say about them because I didn't even buy half of them, and when I did, I'm like, yeah, they're cool, but they're kind of overdoing it, and they're gonna kind of burn out the fans, in my opinion, if they keep doing so many, especially these weird ones that are way out of left field. But for what it is, I think it works. No special reason why it's at 19. Again, this one can move up and down pretty easy on the list. It's usually the last 3, 4, 5 of this list, and the top 5, top 10 that you really kind of have to debate. The ones in the middle are easily, interchangeable, and this is one of those ones. Next up, we have number 18, set 75413, the Republic Juggernaut play set, $160. Now, this is the one that I feel like a lot of fans would have liked to see lower or higher. This one, I feel like there's no kind of middle ground, so that's why I put it right in the middle, to be honest. The Republic Juggernaut should have not been the Juggernaut. It should have been the UT-AT. And I think everyone can agree on that. I think that's something that's easily recognizable and agreeable. But for what it is, the Juggernaut or the Turbo Tank is sad. Honestly, it should have been bigger. If you're going to make a Juggernaut, it better be huge. But if you compare it to any of the other Turbo Tanks in years past, it is much, much smaller, but much more expensive. And that's kind of unfortunate to see. The only reason this is kind of in the middle of the list, though, is because I think the minifigures are really, really good. You have Ki-Adi-Mundi, you have Commander Braca, and you got some droids, and I think it works just well for that. I think those are really, really cool. If you're going to sell it to, a parent's going to buy it for their kid, I think this works for that, but for any collector or any just long-term Star Wars fan, this is kind of an unfortunate one to see, especially compared to any of the ones years past. It sucks. It's kind of unfortunate. Which is kind of the same case for the one next. Number 17, set 75435, the Battle of Felucia MTT playset, $160. Now I think the actual build, the set, the MTT itself, is much better in this set than it is in the Republic Juggernaut, and I just, that's kind of my opinion. But I think most fans would agree on that. The MTT, because it has nothing to really compare to as much in the years past. It's Clone Wars style, so it's just the first of its kind. Obviously, we've had MTTs in years past, but they've all been very different from each other. So this one doesn't feel like it's coming too far out of left field in the size and the style it's built, because all the ones in years past have been different from each other. But the minifigures in this one, I feel like, are a step down compared to the Republic Juggernaut set. Not by a lot, but they are, in my opinion. I think the County-Mundi is a better minifigure than Aayla Secura. Yeah, Commander Bly is okay, but Commander Bly, out of almost any other minifigure this year, is missing the most, right? And especially with that skirt piece that he definitely should have had, that, you know, Captain Rex should have had a couple years ago, that, you know, a lot of minifigures, a lot of Clone Troopers seem to be missing. I feel like Commander Bly is like another one that you put him in a $160 set that is kind of overpriced. You can't make this minifigure just a step better by giving him that piece. It's really, really unfortunate. And you know, a set that's overpriced with a pair to be a battle pack that's also overpriced. It's just like, man, these are two sets that like 5-10 years ago, Lego Star Wars would have released these, and they would have released them at that time with the style of minifigures. This would have been one of the greatest Lego Star Wars releases at that time of all time. But now in this new era of Clone Troopers and overpriced sets, it's just like, dang, this is kind of unfortunate, because this would have been a hit a couple of years ago. Now it's a miss in today's, you know, status. So it's kind of unfortunate. These are, again, two sets that are kind of interchangeable. You can move them down, up on the list, but I don't feel like you could put them much higher, in my opinion. Next up, we have set 75403, Grogu with Hover Pram, another buildable character, $100. Now, I think this one is just fine. You could say we just had a buildable Grogu like a couple of years ago, and you're right, we did, but I think, again, for like one of the most marketable pieces of Star Wars right now, Grogu, this is one of the ones you kind of need on set or on shelves at all times, and you're kind of updating the style of the buildable character with the, you know, the pram. I think that's really, really cool. I think it's a good idea. Not to mention the obvious, they're making a big Mando and Grogu movie next year. You better have a big Grogu set that you can just sell. $100 seems very fair for this set. Obviously, the Grogu itself is much smaller than the Grogu we got in years past, but you do get the hover pram, and it kind of evens out. So for $100, I feel like this is actually one of the better buildable character sets we've gotten. You know, all the next couple buildable character sets are all very interchangeable for me. I threw this one at the bottom just because we've gotten this one, so it seems the least unique, but I do give him props for including the hover pram and keeping this at a very reasonable price as well. Next up, we have set 75416, Chopper, the buildable character set as well, for $100. Again, kind of interchangeable with the last one. I just thought this one's more unique, and with Ahsoka Season 2 just around the corner, I think this is another good one to have on shelves, and, you know, kind of mixes and matches very well with the R2-D2 that we already have, with the C-3PO we already have, and the Grogu and hover pram that we have now. I think this Chopper one really compares well, nice to it. Maybe not as much with like the stab. That's why I have the stab much lower. But yeah, for $100, this one seems very reasonable, very fair, and I love the interchangeable abilities with the arms and like the different accessories that this Chopper set has. I really enjoy this one. It's a little bit more unique than the Grogu, that's why I have it higher, but it's definitely interchangeable with it. Next up, we have K2SO set 75434. It's going to be $90. Now this one I feel like is the most reasonable priced out of all the sets that came out for the buildable characters, but also just one of the most reasonable prices that came out this year. It's really big, you know. I know the piece count isn't like astronomical, but if you compare this to any of the other buildable character sets we get, this one is like, it seems like you're getting a really good deal for $90, right? A lot of these other ones are 100 and more. This one's less than 100, and it stands well. It's big, and it's very accurate. And with the Andor Season 2 that just came out and wrapped up the series, this one seems like a perfect one to have on the shelf. Perfect timing. It's very unique. And honestly, I don't know if we'd ever get this one again because, Rogue One is not going to get a sequel. Andor is highly unlikely to get a sequel. This one seems like it's definitely the right time, right place, and a very, very fair price. I think this is probably one of the better buildable character sets we got this year in totality. Next up, we have set 75402, the ARC 170, another play set for $70. I would have liked to put this one higher, but, I feel like I can't. It's just comparative to ARC 170s in the past. This one's much smaller, which is kind of unfortunate. It's kind of the economy we live in. I think you can put this one higher on your list if you wanted to. I just think those sets above it are more fairly priced and just better in general. But I really do enjoy this set. Now we're getting to the area of a lot of these are, I think, viewed in a more positive light than negative, at least for the play sets now. And the ARC 170, I think, has a lot of great to it. It has a lot of unfortunate to it as well. The minifigures, I think, are standout. The set itself is okay. I think it definitely could have been better, and that's kind of why it's at number 13, right? If this had some just different pieces, let's say, like a little bit longer on the wings, just a little bit wider, I think this could definitely go higher. For $70 though, it seemed reasonable, so that's why it's kind of high as it is. I don't know, I really enjoyed the ARC 170. We had the review on the channel. I was kind of golden then. I don't have an ARC 170 from the years past, so I couldn't really compare to it. So kind of looking at it afterwards, secondhand now, seeing the comparisons, like, yeah, it is much smaller, which kind of sucks. But for what it is in today's LEGO Star Wars economy, I think the set is good. Not the best, that's why it's at number 13, but it's in the top half, so I think it's good enough. Then we have number 12, set 75415, the Kylo Ren helmet. $70, part of the helmet series. I'm glad they finally brought the helmets back. This one I think is good. I think just out of the 3 helmets that we get, this is the worst one. It's not by a lot, but I just think it's kind of awkward in some of its building techniques, and you can kind of see that when you stand afar. Just compared to the other 2 helmets that we got this year, I think it's just the worst of the 3, but it's still high on the list because I think it is a good helmet. I think all the helmets that came out this year are all really, really good. Then we have number 11, the AT-AT driver helmet, set 75429, another helmet series for $70. I could have ranked this one higher, but I just prefer the other helmet that we got on this set. But both of these last 2 helmets are really, really good. This one's kind of a cool one because this was rumored to come out years ago. And we had like preliminary pictures and everything, and then it got cut like a couple months prior for its release, and everyone's like, oh, that's weird. And then we just kind of never heard from him again. And then randomly this year, when they bring back the helmets after a year off, the AT-AT helmet's back. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. They finally brought it back after not even doing helmets for a whole year. And this set was when they were going to do years past. So it's kind of a cool Easter egg for that helmet. But in total, I think this is a great helmet. I prefer the one above it. That's my opinion. Which being number 10, set 75408, the Jango Fett helmet. $70 again for the helmet series. I think this is very comparable to the Boba Fett helmet, but I really, really enjoy this helmet. I think it looks really good. Out of the 3 helmets that came out this year, I think this is the best looking in my opinion. I think you can make an argument for either of these 3. I think all of them are reasonably priced. They kind of keep that $70 helmet series price that helmets had in years past, so I think that's impressive that they kept that price. And I think these all are just done very well. None of them really have any glaring issues. There's some small issues, but none of them have really any glaring issues, and I think they're all really good for what they are. Number 9, we have set 40795, the Luke Skywalker pilot brickheads, $10. This one definitely could have gone higher or lower on the list. It's a great brickhead. It's one that almost kind of weird that we'd never had in the years past, but I think it's easily interchangeable with a lot of these other sets. I think it's bottom 10, not top 10, just because it's a little bit out of left field, right? It didn't really have any correlation with any other sets this year, no other releases of movies and shows or anniversaries, so it did kind of seem weird that they released it this year. But I was pretty much not really a single brickhead that LEGO Star Wars misses on, and the Luke Skywalker pilot isn't really any different. And they kept the $10 price. I appreciate it. It had to make the top 10 for me. So yeah. Then we have set 432, the V19 Torrent. It's a playset for $65. Again, this one and the top two above it, I think, are all pretty interchangeable in my opinion. The only reason I think this one is the bottom of the three is because the ship itself, in a lot of angles, it just seems kind of stubby and short. But the minifigures in this set are probably the best out of like the top 10 to 5 in my opinion. I think it beats the U-Wing, the Jango Fett ship, the ARC 170, the Asajj Ventress looks fantastic. The General Kenobi looks fantastic. The Clone Trooper pilot we get looks fantastic. The minifigures are amazing. The set itself is pretty good too. I think the set itself, for a $65 set, I think works really, really well. Again, I think some angles it looks kind of chubby and short, but I think for $65 it's a really, really good play set. Then we have number 7, set 75399, the Rebel U-Wing from Andor play set, $69.99, $70. Another great, kind of like Starship, Starfighter play set, $70, around that price. We've seen a couple of them come out this year. I think the Rebel U-Wing works just as well as any of these other ones. I think compared to its predecessor, it's a little bit smaller, obviously, but for $70, I think it's pretty good. You know what I mean? I think it works just as well. Like I said earlier, I think it's kind of interchangeable with these number 6 to 9. I think both of these are kind of interchangeable. So with that being said, you're not gonna really catch me making a hard stance on where this one places on the list, but I do think it's top 10. I love the minifigures. It obviously has characters from Andor like Dedra, and I already forgot the other characters in the playset. It's been a second, but that being said, I think for what they are, it's really niche and unique. We're not, again, like I mentioned earlier, I doubt we're going to see any more Andor sets anytime soon. If we do, it's not going to be these characters. So I think it's really cool that we do get these, and for $70, it seems relatively affordable and fair. I like this set. Then we have number 6, set 75433, the Jango Fett Starship playset as well for $69.99, another $70 set. This one I think works really well out of these three. I think it's the better of these three in my opinion, but again, you can compare them, contrast, and I think you can make an argument that either of them are interchangeable. I just really like that they have the UCS Jango Fett Starship with a brand new Jango Fett and Boba Fett, and then they gave it to fans in a play set as well who wanted the new Jango Fett, not up to the same detail and quality, but you can still get a new Jango Fett, a new young Boba Fett, and I think that's really, really cool, and they gave us a new Kaminoan, Lama Su. I think it's awesome. So I really like this set. For $70, it seems very reasonable, very fair. It's almost the exact same as Boba Fett Starship that came out just a couple of years ago. I think it was like $40, $45. So it's obviously a big price increase, but like almost all of these sets are. And this one doesn't seem too unfair for what it is. So I really enjoy this set. Then we break into our top 5, number 5, which I wanted to go much, much higher. I just couldn't. I thought the sets above it were better. But for number 5, we have set 75407, the Star Wars logo for $60. Now, both Lego and Marvel did new logo sets for their Lego lines, and I think both of them are really, really good. I think the only reason I couldn't put this one much higher is because it didn't come with any minifigures, and the Marvel one did, and I really appreciated that the Marvel one did. I wish even a Lego Star Wars just put one, one guy, like Darth Vader, or a Luke Skywalker, or what I think everyone wanted, like a George Lucas. I think that would have catapulted this one to top 1 or 2 for me. But they didn't, and I think that's kind of lacking. But for the build itself, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. It's on my shelf, and I doubt it would ever leave my shelf. I think that's one that's going to be on my shelf for all eternity. It's something that I'm surprised they haven't done before, because they like to do a lot of these display ability sets that are easy to display and are very representative of Star Wars. And I've just never, I've never understood why they haven't just done the logo in a Lego Star Wars manner. And I think they have done it, and it's obviously not perfect, but it's close to it, and that's why it's high on this list. So I really, really enjoyed the Lego Star Wars logo. Now we have number 40806, the Gingerbread AT-AT playset for $60. Now I haven't grabbed it and review it, but from everything I've seen, I'm super excited about this set. It could have been easily been number 1 or 2 for me. The only thing is, I really wish that Darth Vader would have had the eyes printed, because it just kind of all blends together, and that's kind of the case for every Darth Vader. I feel like there should be a tint of like a different color on the eyes, whether it's red, white, or whatever. And it should have been for this one as well, especially for how unique he is. They definitely could have done it and made an excuse to do it, but they didn't. And I feel like that's kind of like the biggest gripe I have against this set. Otherwise, this is exactly what Lego Star Wars should be to me personally. You know, there's lots of like cool scenes and moments from Star Wars you can rebuild. But at the end of the day, you do have to do some of these cool, unique ideas that are Lego Star Wars. And this set does it. With the Gingerbread AT-AT, I absolutely love this set. I love the idea of it. And from everything I've seen, this set looks just very fair. And for $60, I think it works just well. Then we have number 3, set 75414, the first Force Burner Snow Speeder from the Build the Galaxy. It's going to be $55. This set is awesome. I mean, again, if you don't like Rebuild the Galaxy, it's kind of a hard sell, but at the same time, there's things to it that are really cool. It's a hot rod snow speeder. That's really cool. The snow speeder is something we haven't seen in Lego Star Wars in a little bit, but they gave us an updated build of it, so that's awesome. It kind of gives us hope that we might see a snow speeder with that updated build sometime in the near future. But they give us just like a cool twist and turn on it with like the hot rod, you know, yellow and red and flames. It looks super cool. The minifigures are obviously unique and cool. You know, they might not be as cool as a Gingerbread AT-AT Darth Vader, but they are still really cool. And I think, you know, for what it is, this is again kind of what Lego Star Wars I think needs to have every year, and that's creativity, unique. Like different spin on Lego Star Wars than just, oh, this seems really cool, let's just rebuild it, and we've done it a dozen times. I think, yeah, that's good, you should do that as well, but to have these cool, unique twists and ideas and creative ideas is what Lego Star Wars needs to have, and I think, you know, in some years past, they haven't had it as much. Both this one and the Gingerbread AT-AT represent that to me, and I really enjoy them, and they're both really fairly priced. You know, being under $70, where almost every set is $70 or more, is crazy to me. So I really enjoy that set. Then we have set 40796, number 2, the Revenge of the Sith Brickheads. Now, I think this is just fantastic compared to the last year and the year prior, where we had Phantom Menace Anniversary Brickheads, so a lineup of 5 for $50 or maybe $55. The year before, Return of the Jedi Anniversary, same thing, a lineup of characters, Brickheads from the movie. This is the same thing, Revenge of the Sith heroes and villains lineup, and I think it's just awesome. You know, I mean, doing this for the anniversary of like the movie is such a cool idea, and all of the Brickheads are just great. There's nothing wrong with any of them. I love the selection of characters. I love the actual characters done. I think they're done very well for $50, $55. Super fair. I don't really know what else to say. I think this set could have been number 1. It could have been number 5. There's really nothing wrong with it. If you like Brickheads, you'll absolutely love this set. If you like Star Wars, you'll absolutely love this set. If you like Lego, I think you'll absolutely love this set. I think this is so marketable to almost every genre of fan, to the Lego Star Wars community. I just really enjoy this set. And, you know, obviously I'm a little bit biased. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite movie. But a lot of these other Brickheads from, you know, Phantom Menace and Return of the Jedi, I thought very highly of them as well. So, very cool set. And that brings us to number 1. I kind of mentioned it earlier with my take on the other battle pack. We have number 1, set 75412, the Death Trooper and Night Trooper battle pack, $22 or $22.99, $23. I'm a huge sucker for battle packs, and I thought this battle pack was awesome. I thought it was well done. You know, there's, you know, maybe a quip, you know, I wish they were more unique here and there. But for what we get, absolutely perfect. In an age of where almost every set is price gouged, like just extremely high, and doesn't even make sense, this one seems unbearably reasonable. Like, I feel like $22, you know, $3 or $2 just jumped from, you know, $20, which it was for like 5-6 years. I think it's fair. I really do. You know, doing a $30 jump to $45 seems very unfair, especially when you don't offer much. This one, $2 or $3 seems very fair. I really I really appreciate Lego Star Wars keeping it for this one. I really don't know why they jumped so much on the other battle pack that came out this year. The actual contents of this set are really good. You know, I really like the troop carrier we get. It's very reminiscent of the Imperial troop carrier we got just last year in the battle pack. Well, I don't really know if it's a battle pack, but the Rebels versus Stormtroopers anniversary set that we got last year. It's very reminiscent of that, and I always thought that was really cool and unique. I really like that we did it for this one as well. The Death Troopers look really, really good. The Night Troopers look really, really good. This is a great, great battle pack that I just think I'm so appreciative that Lego Star Wars kept it at a very cheap, affordable price, because like we saw with the other battle pack they did this year, they easily could have price gouged it and be like, well, there's a lot of unique molds and print on this. We can change the price on it, but they didn't, and I really, really appreciate it. So that's my favorite set. A lot of these like top 5 to 10 are very interchangeable. 11 to like 17, 20 are very interchangeable, and like the last 20 or 6 or whatever it is are very interchangeable as well. But you can kind of tell like the brackets of like what we like, what's kind of in the middle, and what we don't like. And I think a lot of fans will come to the same conclusion for a lot of these. Obviously, there's going to be some takes that people completely disagree with. Let me know down in the comments what I'm wild for missing or disagreeing with, and let me know what you agree with. So all that being said, let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like, don't forget to hit that subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.